Okay, so good evening everyone. I'm Amrita and today we will be discussing the questions for week 8. We have already completed 7 weeks of live sessions and today we are going to discuss questions from week. Okay, so today we have a set of 10 questions, not much to do. So, guys, can we uh, attentive and we can finish it early? Yeah, I hope everyone knows the rules for the class. Please do not unmute your audio or video throughout the class. I will be the one speaking, and if you have any doubts at all for any of the assignment questions discussed or whatever current year assignment questions you all are solving, if you have any kind of doubts, you can ask me here, chat box, or you can comment in the videos. Anything is fine and I can solve that question for you or clarify your doubt in that same class or the next class. Okay, we have more 5 weeks to go, including this week. So, whatever doubts you have, try to cover it up in these 5 weeks. Okay, so yeah, let's start and keep putting down how many correct answers and how many wrong answers you all are giving and keep revising the questions. Whatever we are discussing in the live session, plus your current year assignments, whoever is giving the exam for the certificate, they should be thorough with the things we are discussing in the live session, plus the lecture materials. And I know the subject is a bit tough compared to other subjects. So yeah, keep practicing, keep revising. Okay, okay. So we'll start with today's class. Let's start with the first question. Which of the following microorganisms is most commonly used for industrial glutamic acid production by fermentation? Streptomyces griseus, Micrococcus glutamicus, Saccharomyces cerevisiae, Penicillium chrysogena. Chrysogena. Start answering. Okay, let's see what is the correct answer to this question. It is B, Micrococcus glutamicus. So this is the microorganism which is most commonly used for industrial glutamic acid production. So glutamic acid is primarily produced by the microbial fermentation using Micrococcus glutamicus. As it is written in the explanation, this bacterium efficiently converts carbon sources like glucose and molasses into glutamic acid under controlled conditions of aeration and pH. So, as the name suggests, this microorganism converts the carbon sources like glucose into glutamic acid. So, evidently, this microorganism is the one used for production of industrial glutamic acid. Glutamicus, it's easy to remember. Moving on to the next question. Penicillin belongs to which class of antibiotics? Aminoglycosides, tetracyclines, beta lactams, macrolides. Start answering. Okay, let's see what is the correct answer. It is C, beta lactam. So penicillin has a characteristic beta lactam ring that inhibits the bacterial cell wall synthesis by binding to the transpeptidase enzymes. This prevents peptidoglycan cross-linking leading to bacterial lysis. So penicillin belongs to the class of antibiotics which is beta lactams. Okay. Moving on to the next question, why is penicillin G unsuitable for oral administration? It is toxic in the stomach, it is inactivated by acidic pH, it requires protein binding in plasma, it is insoluble in water. Start answering. Okay, let's see what is the correct answer to is. It is inactivated by acidic pH. Okay, so penicillin G is unstable in acidic conditions of the stomach, which causes its degradation. Therefore, derivatives like penicillin V and ampicillin are preferred for oral administration. So, why is penicillin G unsuitable? Because it is inactivated by acidic pH. So, our stomach, we know that it has a acidic pH because of the acidic secretions happening in the stomach. So that's why it causes the degradation of penicillin G. So its derivatives like penicillin V and ampicillin are preferred for oral administration, which are also antibiotics, right? Moving on to the next question. During streptomycin production, which phase is characterized by maximum antibiotic synthesis? Lag phase, rapid growth phase, secondary metabolite phase, sugar depletion phase. So lag phase is 0 to 24 hours, rapid growth phase is 0 to 1 day, secondary metabolite phase is 1 to 6 days, sugar depletion phase is after 6 days. Start answering. Let's see what is the correct answer. It is C, secondary metabolite phase, that is 1 to 6 days. So during the streptomycin production, the stage which is responsible for maximum antibiotic synthesis is the metabolic phase, which starts from the after 24 hours. So for the first 24 hours, it is the lag phase. Then is 0 to 1 day, the rapid growth phase. Then the secondary phase, which can last from 1 to 6 days, that is the phase in which there is maximal production of the secondary metabolite streptomycin. And when the biomass growth is stabilized, ammonia is consumed and glucose uptake is high. That's what is the sugar depletion phase. Because of the glucose uptake, the sugar depletion phase will start after 6 days. Okay, and that is clear. Let's move on to the next question. Which precursor is added to the fermentation medium to produce penicillin V instead of penicillin G? Phenyl acetic acid, phenoxyacetic acid, glutamic acid, lactic acid. Start answering. Okay, let's see what is the correct answer to this. It is phenoxyacetic acid. So, which precursor is added to the fermentation medium to produce penicillin V instead of penicillin G? Because obviously we understood that penicillin G gets degraded. So, for that, the precursor which is added is phenoxyacetic acid. So, for penicillin G production, phenyl acetic acid is used, whereas replacement with phenoxyacetic acid leads to penicillin B synthesis, which is acid stable and orally bioavailable. Okay, so the main thing was that we have to make it acid stable. So for that, instead of phenyl acetic acid, phenoxyacetic acid is used to make the penicillin V instead of penicillin G, which is acid stable and orally bioavailable. Okay, moving on to the next question. The main nitrogen source in baker's yeast fermentation is peptone, ammonium sulfate and ammonium hydroxide, soy fluorohydrolysate, casein hydrolysate. Start answering. Okay, let's see. So the correct answer to this question, it is B, ammonium sulfate and ammonium hydroxide. So the main nitrogen source comes from ammonium sulfate and ammonium hydroxide in the fermentation of Baker's yeast. It is the prime source for nitrogen supplementation, which will accelerate the growth, which is given by these ammonium salts. Okay, on to the next question. What is the mechanism of action of streptomycin? Inhibits cell wall synthesis, inhibits protein synthesis at the 30S ribosomal subunit, blocks DNA gyrase activity, disrupts cell membrane permeability. Start answering. Okay, let's see what is the correct answer to this question. It is B. Inhibits protein synthesis at the 30S ribosomal subunit. So this is the mechanism of action of streptomycin. So what happens is streptomycin binds to the 16S rRNA of the 30S ribosomal subunit, preventing the binding of F-met tRNA. Okay, I hope everyone knows the process of ribosomal subunits and what are the types of subunits, everything, right? Ribosomal subunits. This inhibits initiation of protein synthesis leading to bacterial death. I hope you're clear with the transcription and translation process. I hope that. So if you are understanding that, then you can know this, that it inhibits the protein synthesis, that is the translation part, and by binding at the 30S ribosomal subunits. I hope you know how many ribosomes subunits are present. This inhibits the protein synthesis, leading to bacterial death. If the protein synthesis is getting stopped, it leads to bacterial death. That is what the streptomycin does, which is an antibiotic. Okay. On to the next question. Why is penicillin classified as a secondary metabolite? It is essential for microbial growth. It is produced during exponential phase. It is produced during stationary phase under stress. It provides primary energy for the fungus. Start answering. Okay. Let's see what is the correct answer to this question. It is C. It is produced during the stationary phase under stress. Why penicillin is considered as a secondary metabolite? Because secondary metabolites like penicillin are not essential for microbial growth but are produced in the stationary phase. When your media is saturated, the bacteria has eaten up all the media, that's when it starts coming in the stationary phase, when it is not able to double or grow anymore like in the log phase, that is called the stationary phase. So there the secondary metabolites like penicillin, they are produced often as defense compounds because then, as I said, the media is finished up, it is taken up by the microorganisms for growth. So now there is no such nutrients, the nutrient has become a limiting factor. So that's where these defense compounds, which are the secondary metabolites like penicillin, starts to grow. That's why it is produced during the stationary phase under stress. So when the log phase is finished and the microbes are in the stationary phase, that's a stress phase because they don't have any nutrients. That's where this secondary metabolite production starts. That's why, and also penicillin is an example of a secondary metabolite. Okay. Moving on to the next question. Which of the following is not a disadvantage of glutamic acid consumption in excess? Sweating, high blood pressure, tooth decay, low blood sugar. Start answer. Okay, let's see what is the correct answer to this. It is D, low blood sugar. So, which of the following is not a disadvantage of glutamic acid consumption in excess? So, it is low blood sugar, which is not a disadvantage. So, high doses of glutamic acid cause sweating, hypertension, and contribute indirectly to tooth decay due to sugar-rich foods. Low blood sugar is not associated with glutamic acid. So, low blood sugar is nowhere associated with glutamic acid, but high doses of glutamic acid consumption leads to the other options as mentioned here, like sweating, high blood pressure leads to hypertension, and tooth decay. But low blood sugar is nowhere connected to the consequences of excess glutamic acid consumption. Okay. Moving on to the last question. Which of the following factors is essential for yeast growth in Baker's yeast fermentation? Absence of oxygen, high sugar concentration, adequate aeration, use of antibiotics in medium. Start answering. Okay, let's see what is the correct answer to this question. Yeah, see, it's adequate aeration. So the most important factor which is essential for yeast growth is adequate aeration, that is proper air supply, right? That is oxygen supply, I mean to say. So oxygen supply is critical in baker's yeast production because it supports biomass growth, prevents alcohol fermentation, and removes CO2. Excess sugar causes fermentation instead of biomass formation. Okay, so oxygen supply is a very important factor for yeast production because it supports the growth, prevents alcohol fermentation, and removes carbon dioxide as well. Okay, so this was the last question for today. If you have any doubts, you can ask, or we can know your scores out of 10 today. Okay, 10 out of 10, 8 out of 10. Okay, uh, so this was one question which Shanmukpriya asked in the previous class, which I will discuss now. If anyone is interested, they can stay, or we are done for today, they can leave the class, okay? So the question she asked was from fifth week, 20th question. So here two options are given, and she has pointed out it correctly that this answer given is wrong actually. B is not the correct answer here. So the question is, rate of evaporation is directly proportional to humidity of the surrounding air, inversely proportional to temperature of the liquid, inversely proportional to humidity of the surrounding air, directly proportional to temperature of the liquid. So here they have given accepted answers as B and C, but I think C and D are the correct answer and B is not the correct answer. But I don't know how they have given B here. So if someone has marked it as C, if you have marked any one of this, you will get it. But I think correct answer is C. Definitely C is the correct answer because rate of evaporation is inversely proportional to humidity, and D is not the correct answer. D is the correct answer. I think they have given it by mistake, or it is a typo error, or they were thinking only C but they have written B by mistake, or maybe they were thinking C and D but they have written B or C by mistake. So if you want to know the explanation, Shanmupriya, so the question was rate of evaporation, right? So when the surrounding air has high humidity, is already saturated with water vapor. So if there is high humidity, so there is water vapor in the surrounding. So this reduces the capacity of air to take up more vapor, right? That's the common thing. So it lowers the evaporation rate. So evaporation rate is inversely proportional to humidity. So the higher the humidity, the lower is the evaporation rate. That's why it is inversely proportional. So option C is definitely correct. Okay. Then was, if we relate it with temperature, higher temperature of the liquid, molecules have more kinetic energy, more molecules escape into the vapor phase, faster evaporation. So if there is the temperature of the liquid, this is just a basic thing that if we boil water, the higher the temperature at which we are boiling the water, the higher or the faster will be the evaporation, right? So evaporation rate clearly is directly proportional to temperature, but option B says inversely proportional to temperature, so obviously it is wrong. Rather than rate of evaporation is directly proportional to temperature of the liquid is the correct answer, right? Is it clear, Shanmukpriya? So if you have given C option, I think you are safe. But if you have given uh, D option, because D is also correct, but they have not included in the accepted answers, you may have like lost 1 mark, I guess, right? So yeah, I can understand that there are some answers. Okay, it was multiple select. Oh, acha. So it should be C and D, but they have given B and C. I don't know, like, how to rectify these mistakes actually, because even I don't have the liberty to contact anyone actually. It has to be solved from the professor who has made these questions actually. I am not the authorizing person for this matter. I can solve your doubts, but how to correct it in the portal actually? That's the thing. Mail to NPTEL support. I don't know if people have the mail ID or not. I can, if you, I think it is there in the portal. Yeah, I understand. In the discussion forum, I am seeing it, but it has to come from the professor, right? So either you have to wait because once they had this live session with the professor, they have to do something. If you are able to, if they are conducting another live session, do attend it and please point out these mistakes, or else you have to write a mail, I think. Only then they will rectify these mistakes, I think. That's the only option we can try other than uh, the discussion forum. That's all. Or else you have to just accept it as it is, but you know in your mind what is the correct answer. Right? 1 2 marks you may lose, but I think that will be fine. You are going to give the exam, that will be completely on your hand, in your hand, so you can do good at it. 100. Yeah, it's difficult to get 100 for this in assignment. Understood. But what can you do now? Nothing can be done. You just try to mail once. Because if I mail for some of the issues which I have any time for the classes, they replied fast. So I think they should reply back to the students as well. So try that once. If not, let me know. I'll mail them otherwise. Okay? Okay. Yeah. Mail the team. I think they should take care of it. Okay? Write the question, write your write the week name, week number, and the question number, the doubt for that question, or if like the answer is given incorrect, everything write in detail and make one email and send it for all the weeks till now. Whatever you have observed is wrong anywhere. Okay, then just see what response they are giving. Yeah, but obviously that's as I said, this subject is tough itself. You can't score a full score. I don't think it is possible because that subject is tough itself. Okay, but give your best. It's not like you have to score 100 out of 100. If you score above 90 also, it's fine. Okay. Yeah, yeah. They take average of 8. 8 8 assignments. Okay, okay. That's fine. Yeah, yeah, that's fine then. If you are taking average of 8 assignments. Yeah. Okay. So if you don't have any more doubts, we can disperse. Okay. We'll meet again next Tuesday. And yeah, these are really silly mistakes actually, which is reducing the marks. That's correct. But it happens sometimes, like everyone, they don't, like it happens in the, what if, what can I say? That it just happens. Maybe it is a typing error which they have unseen. And if we point it out, they may correct it. Okay. So, yeah, we can just try that. The reason can be anything for these kind of mistakes. We can't say, but we can point it out if we have noticed it. Right? Okay. Okay, Shanmukhpriya, I hope your doubts are clear. If you have any more doubts, you can ask. You're welcome. And I guess I asked, thank you for staying and listening. That's really nice of you. You can all keep asking doubts. I am there to clarify it, and we can point out these mistakes and write to the team. And if they can correct it, that is really good. And I appreciate you that you are able to point it out. It shows that you are giving effort to understand the subject and the questions, and you're not just blindly following everything. That's good. That's really good. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, yeah. Okay, I'll end the class. We'll meet next Tuesday. Okay. Bye.